Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes, and welcome back to the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And thanks to all our generous patrons who've kept us going for over 350 episodes.
Yeah, if you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week is David D. Thank you, David. And as always, we have a sponsor to thank, especially this time of year, Free Ball Fall. It's getting a little chilly. It's starting to cool down finally. There's wind right now. So,
yeah, I'm hearing from people across the country how much colder it's getting. The rain's coming down. I mean, that doesn't happen out here. Like a cloud rolls by and we like freak out, and it's like, how cold did it get out there? 80 degrees. Dang.
Still a mega drought. Yeah, it's there's wind blowing and it is 71 degrees. By Halloween it'll be, a little bit chilly, maybe almost flannel weather.
So if you live in the Southwest, it's still hot, which means you're still sweaty. And if you live elsewhere, it's getting cold, and things are probably getting a little too insular, and you're insulated in undergarments.
Whether or not you need to keep it short or you want to have a trimmed little fur patch down there to keep you warm, we've got the sponsor for you. We're talking about Manscaped, and obviously one of our favorite things that Manscaped does is the Lawnmower 4.0, and of course the ball deodorant. Oh, I grabbed the crop preserver. So I'm actually running low, which, that means you now know about me. I rub my balls with cream. But it smells fantastic. And this kind of time of year
feels fantastic.
Well, it's the perfect scent for this time of year, too.
It's true.
Got like a foresty.
It's got a good foresty smell. Like when you think of fall, you think of fall, trees, leaves, forests, and whatever. And you want to admire the forest outdoors. Nobody wants to admire the forest in your junk. So
indoors,
you keep that shit raked and clean like a good, Swedish country.
A good Swedish country.
And I know I said Swedish country as if there's more than one Sweden. However,
another of our favorite products that Manscaped has, and I'm actually wearing them right now, is the Manscaped Boxers 2.0. They're super comfortable.
Great pair of boxers.
Yeah. Believe it or not, they're pretty warm too, but they're cool. They're cool weather. They keep you from sweating. I don't know about you. It never gets cold enough where I want like hot balls. So I think I'm gonna be sticking with the cooling feature. It's got a little pouch to keep your balls away from your body.
Pouch is very good because everyone's got the little window to Pandora or whatever on their boxer briefs, but none of them actually have a little pouch to keep it like nice and secure, but also breathable. Fresh. Most of the time it's just like this flat window into hell, or could be heaven, if you get your shit trimmed and cleaned up with the Lawnmower 4.0.
What's as a last aside here, the worst thing about not having the pouch, you're wearing some other boxers that doesn't have the pouch to hold your balls. Your balls slip between your legs, you sit down wrong, sit on your nuts. That has happened to me. Once in high school, it happened to me. I almost threw up in class. Slid into that table.
That's how you know it really hurts, because there's there's hurting your nuts, but then there's like hurting your nuts to the point that you want to vomit.
Yeah, then you groan, and everybody in your English class, including Miss Voss, is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" You're just like, I need a minute. Anyway, it's a secondary benefit to all the things that we love about the Boxers 2.0. If you want to pick up a pair of those, or you want to get the entire package, the Performance Package 4.0, head over to manscaped.com. Use our code YoVG, all caps, for 20% off and free shipping worldwide. That's code YoVG, all caps, at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping worldwide. Your balls will thank you.
So speaking of hair, we got to talk about the Street Fighter 6 beta, because that made you create a character, and it's probably the first. I mean, there's Monster Hunter Rise, but that's pretty basic. This has a really in-depth character creator with the RE engine. Like,
What does in depth mean?
Very in depth. So you can determine how much arm hair, back hair, how thick the back hair is, the length of the hair on any part of your body.
Finally.
And if it was an AO rated title, you could probably determine how much bush you have. But the thing is, it's so in depth
Finally, a game for my people.
You can literally imagine the rendering of the hair on the nutsack of your favorite Street Fighter characters.
That's excellent. We back in the day we did a bush or no bush for Street Fighter characters. We might have to revisit that when the game comes out.
So yeah, Street Fighter 6 had a closed beta test over the last weekend. I got to participate, played a lot of it. But again, starting there, you do a creative character because it's got this virtual arcade that you play in, the Battle Hub, as it's called.
Right.
Which I do kind of complain about with Arxis, but it's kind of fun here. It's fully 3D, with all these custom created characters. And because the character creator is so in depth, and Andrew, you just got to look up some of this shit. Street Fighter 6 custom characters. You just Google that. Just Google it right now.
Okay.
Because
here's the thing. I tried
to
get in.
Some fucking weird monstrosities coming out of this character creator. It's not like you can make your guy kind of fat or pudgy or beefy or whatever. I'm like,
you can make them straight up beasts, monsters.
You make them monsters. You just make them hideous looking things.
This is fucked up.
Like, part of me thinks this was done on purpose to give them like inspiration for the next Resident Evil game. Like, I don't know, how do we create a monster design? Give people a character creator in the RE engine, see what they come up with, and we'll just take that.
Just wow. This guy looks like an actual dick, and I'm not gonna put it. I was gonna put him in the video just now, but then I realized like that's how you get in trouble on YouTube. But he looks like an actual dick. This is incredible. Do you think Manscaped sponsors this guy? I want to show this to you guys so bad.
Because again, they let you determine where and how much hair and hair patches you have over all these characters.
This is incredible. I'm going to send this to you over Discord so that you can enjoy this.
Yep, that's the one I've seen. Yep.
Yeah, guy looks like an actual penis. Yeah, no, some of this is amazing, but then also the ones that are like you actually try to make them look good. You can make your guy look legit cool as hell.
Yeah, you could.
You can make him look hot as fuck. I know that there's like a big thing about like Jury's feet was going around on Twitter.
Jury's. I kind of just hate Jury in general. She's such a thirst trap character.
Why would you hate that?
It's kind of like that sort of, I don't know, like that weird disingenuous, like I know I'm being sold to kind of attitude. Where it's like I didn't design a cool character. I designed this character with the sole express intent because I know because I know you're horny. Yeah, you like this horny shit. Yeah, you like it. You like it. Yeah, you like it.
I do. If I was a foot guy, I was thinking about this, like all the dudes who are really horny for feet, and I'm not shaming. I'm just saying, like, they must fucking love the internet. Like, think about in the past, like Quentin Tarantino must have almost quit making movies when the internet picked up steam because he's like, well, I don't have to make movies to see movie stars eat anymore. Like, I can just fucking do a quick Google and
if Quentin Tarantino saw Jury, he'd probably give up making filmmaking altogether.
Well, we know it's going to be his favorite game. Again, no hate as long as everyone's consenting. I don't, you get all about wash your fucking hands and feet after, I guess, but get into it, but honestly, the internet's been like God's gift to kink. You can not only has the internet meant that you can see actual dicks, you can compare your create a character to a muscular penis. No other time in human history. That
reminds me of I think it was an ex-Sony developer, someone who maybe worked on Little Big Planet or other Mod Nation, if you remember Mod Nation games.
Yeah.
Mod Nation Racers and whatever. And he said we had a term for this in the studio. We called it TTP. So anytime we released a brand new game that had a custom editor in it, he says we always would do bets around the office of our fastest time to TTP. And TTP stood for time to penis.
Yes.
How fast is it going to be before someone just makes a dick?
I don't know. People are fucked up. People are so fucked up, but it's probably the best thing about them. I was thinking about, so you know that meme that's going around, like, this is a bit of an aside, but it leads into, or it has to do with my people are so fucked up. But you've seen that meme that goes around where it's like dudes in the 1980s crying, getting made fun of by like the hot people. And then like today, all the hot people are like, oh, we've always loved this.
Well,
and like
I love
the
this shit
1980s dude being like, and like I've talked about that before. Like when we were kids, like gaming, you get made fun of. Like, I had like a bottle of orange juice thrown at me once because I was talking about Nintendo. Like it was not like the cool thing to do.
Right.
But usually like I'm saying like it's really cool that today I've noticed I think kids, and you notice it somewhat with like Gen Z, but kids today are just, they seem kinder. And so like having a niche interest,
I think it's a byproduct of apathy.
Oh, maybe, I guess. But like, it's just like you have a niche interest, and niche interests are sort of celebrated now. You're into feet? Great. There's a whole
I think it's a column A, column B. I think it's a lot of apathy. I also think it's a lot of like, if you do something outrightly dickish, right? Like, and it gets posted on the internet, there's going to be a giant crowd of, because this actually works in reverse, because you know how like, oh, the internet's full of bullies, right? Well, there's also a fucking giant wall of people who will come in and be like, hey man, that's fucked up. Like, so now you being a dick will have a giant, you could get an anti-hate mob on you for being a bully. Like, we're just kind of like, hey, man, that's not cool. Yeah, fucking, we're like, so like you try to do something where you're just, being a douchebag, and then you get called. Now you can get called out for being a douchebag. So now people just don't want to be douchebags anymore.
Yeah, you can get bullied for being a bully.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Which is fine.
But yeah, it's just like what it's led to though is like people being into niche shit, or being like they'll do the weird wacky shit that would have got you bullied into oblivion back in the day. And now it's just like normal. Like if you made a giant dick when we were kids, like you might make a few people laugh, but it only took one kid to like turn it into like, oh, you're gay.
And I'm like, sudden, here comes the homophobia.
And then all of a sudden you're a pariah for 6 months at school because you made a dude who looks like a dick.
He's a dick. He's secretly gay. Yeah. All the whispering.
But nowadays, be like, yeah, I made this dick. It's just people on the internet laugh about it.
Yeah.
I had a great time. I thank you, whoever made this huge penis. There's a walking fucking weirdo. This walking dildo. He looks like a walking butt plug because he's got a wider base.
Yeah. He didn't skip leg day.
But okay, so SF6 beta, I didn't get in. You got in. You played it all weekend. So how excited are you for Street Fighter 6? Is it like,
okay, let me just get right out the gate.
Hype
here.
Is real for it.
Okay, let me just get let me point it. Let me just say right here, because this was just for the Battle Hub, the online multiplayer lobby system, whatever, right? No single player stuff, but we did get to create a character, which you'll do for single player as well. If Capcom can nail the World Tour mode, where you get to run around actual cities as your creative character and like learn stuff, do stuff, whatever. If they can nail that single player content, Capcom has something really, really special on their hands here.
Really?
Yeah, like it's not. Street Fighter V kind of came out like a wet fart. Like, it came out with basically early access for $60. Right. It's got the things you need. It's got versus, and it's got online multiplayer and ranked, I guess, whatever. Like, This is like much closer to like, okay, this feels like a AAA product where it's like they're putting a lot of money and they're putting a lot of people on this. With like, we're gonna have a big single player thing. We're really trying to up the production value. We're really trying to make it stand out. Really trying to give it its own identity. You know, be like its own little virtual world
Right.
that people can play in and do stuff in. Like in the Battle Hub, yes, there's these little arcades that you can queue up to fight people in, or you could just stand there and look like a jackass, you know, on like an earless headpiece, like staring into the sky, and you're just looking for like casual or ranked matches, just like, which is funny because if you were playing and like you wanted to go into the same lobby Max was in, like, a lot of times Max used to be sitting there somewhere in the Battle Hub, just his character looks like this, but he's actually, you know, connecting to someone and playing a match online while his avatar is just staring in the lobby, just
So the entire time you're playing online, your avatar just sits there?
No, because you can go up to arcades and they go down, they sit down, and like it looks like they're playing, like they have all these facial animations of them, like, you know, getting into the game, right? And you can do that. That's one way to. There's like 3 ways basically. I mean, 2 really, but like you can go up to any of these arcade cabinets, right? And there's like they're facing away from each other and sit down. And like you'll see who the guy's playing, and then you just like, yeah, let me queue up. You can even go up to an arcade cabinet where 2 people are playing on it, right, back to back,
Right.
and you can spectate it. You can join the queue. You could decide, you know, either side, any side, whatever side opens first, and you can queue up, like putting your quarter up there.
So it's
You know,
straight
for
up
that.
the arcade experience
Yeah,
virtually.
yeah. So they got that, or you can just stand there, just click the menu, just press like, you know, the pause button or whatever, and you go to the menu and you're like, find me a ranked match. Just find me a ranked match. I don't want to have to go and walk up to an arcade cabinet or whatever. Just find me a ranked match, and then it'll do that, right? So you could just do it either way. There's areas in the arcade where you can go and just sit, like click to sit on these stools and watch this big giant screen of like matches going on. There's a person constantly telling you so, and like, you know, the player's on a winning streak, you know, we have a new winning streak, you know, up or whatever. Then there's some interesting things. There's little sections of the arcade where they have this kind of called Extreme and Game Center. So in Extreme, you have these 6 arcade cabinets, and they're basically split between 3 and 3, and they have weird, unique rules. Like, okay, so for the beta, 3 of the Extreme cabinets we're going to give you a list of things you have to do: jumping attack, do 3 parries, do 2 throws, right? And you have all these this list of things at the top of the screen where your life bar would be, and you have to complete them. So you don't have a life bar. You literally just, the first player to complete all the tasks where their life bar normally is wins the round. And now that was one thing. The other one, which I liked, was called Seesaw. So you have this like line in between this giant bar, right? And every time you hit someone, the line goes away from you, fills up your side of the life bar. And then as time goes down, the bar shrinks. So once you hit a guy enough to like the bar goes past his side of the line of the life bar, you win. While that's going on, there is a bull rampaging left and right across the battle arena, knocking your ass down. And I really liked the Seesaw bull run. I thought that was actually a lot of fun.
So if you're just avoiding each other, the bull can hit you. Yes,
and the bull hits you. It gives massive, pushes your Seesaw massive like into your territory. Like you don't want that. Like you're gonna lose a lot of your meter. But there'd be times like the bull will hit both, and it literally just goes. It causes the thing to go right back in the dead center because it nails both of you.
So I guess I have a couple of questions because I didn't watch anything on this. I saw like people tweeting about it, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So obviously you make your little me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know it's not a me, but it's a me.
It's a me, but it's highly detailed.
Can you fight as your me?
It looks like you can in the final version of the game coming out.
That's fucking cool. So you can like pick a move set.
Right. In this, it did not. It was very strictly related to like I think it was 6 or 7 characters that you could choose to play as in the beta.
You pick who you're going to fight in the actual game in the round. You're going to pick, you know, whoever. Jury, obviously the ultimate.
No.
Ultimate footsie. But I guess I was wondering, like, since this is a close, or since this was a beta purely for the online, there's
Yeah.
no hints in it about what that single player will be. I guess
No, there was just
speculating.
like a screen that's just World Tour, and it says click, and you click on it at the title screen. It's like it's not available yet.
Yeah,
So it's
I
like
was just kind of wondering, like, are you literally going to cities and you do a bunch of scraps and then fight whatever
that's what it
character?
looks like, because we saw from the footage they released at TGS, like you're in like Metro City, like a big 3D,
Right.
and you run around and you talk to people, and then you get into fights, and you like it shows like custom characters fighting other like NPCs or other custom characters, and you learn moves, like you build up your character, you teach them what moves you want them to have, kind of thing, and
I guess I
um,
sort of just took that to mean that everything happens in a metro city. Like, it's not, you don't go, like, you're not going to go fight E Honda somewhere, or you're
I
not
think
going
you
to
do
fight.
though, because like you go up and talk to Chun Li, and you'll actually like have to fight Chun Li or something in the World Tour mode.
That's cool
From
as hell.
like the little footage we've seen released of it, I'm like, that's why I say, man, if they can really nail that, they've got something special here, because that looks really cool, and the rest of the game is actually coming together.
Well, don't they? I mean, that seems like they're finally learning from NetherRealms.
Yes, yes,
Like they're finally taking a page
it
out of that book.
feels that's exactly it. Where it's like, okay, this feels like a fully featured, content rich product. I'm
Wow.
not just releasing a game, and it's literally like it's got as much content as a Super NES fighting game did, plus online. Yay, it has online. Oh, okay.
Who's lead on the game? Like, who's the director? Like, Ono's not the
No,
director.
oh
Ono's
man,
retired, right?
yeah. Well, apparently not.
Like, he
and I
left.
don't. I don't. He went to work for another company.
Hmm.
I'm hesitant to say who or what. I don't know if it's probably public. I just don't know. Um, I'm really upset that I'm not remembering the director's name offhand. Because he was at E3. I saw him just chilling there with the producer of Six. So, um, his name is Takayuki Nakayama. So most people just call him Nakayama. And basically like they basically took over, because they started doing these Nintendo Direct style Street Fighter update presentation videos,
Right. Yeah.
where Nakayama and I cannot remember the producer's name, they would just kind of show up and just talk to people like face to face, like directly. Kazuhiro Tsuchiya. So Tsuchiya and Nakayama, I guess, like they're like the duo. Like you see these guys because like,
Everywhere for this game.
well, they also kind of have, for better or worse, like this is, I don't mean this as a knock, but they have the profile of a bit of a Penn and Teller, Laurel and Hardy.
One short, one tall.
Yeah, we'll call it that. We'll say short and tall. Let's go with that.
Fat and skinny.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You know.
Well, one's a little bigger and one's a little smaller. So,
Yeah,
but anyways,
that's the duo me and Dan do.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so you get exactly like they're just like this profile, like these two guys, who have like opposite body types, and they just fucking love Street Fighter.
I'll take
and
that.
and they've really been killing it, honestly, since they took over the end of 5 and started putting in like fan favorite characters, and then like 6. They're really just passionate about.
So, like, how
making
young blood are they though? Because I know Ono sort of owned Street Fighter for a while, and I know he rubbed some people the wrong way. Like, I don't know a lot about the behind the scenes, but I know he was
Mhm.
like, he was sort of in conflict with some people about it. Yeah, so I'm shocked because I've never heard of these guys before. Ono's a fucking legend. I'm casual as hell, and I
Yeah.
know who Ono is.
So yeah, it really feels like Nakayama and Tsuchiya like kind of like taking over, and it's kind of nice that we're seeing the director of the game rather than just the producer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of nice. I mean, he's really only been in the game industry since the 2000s. So yeah, I don't think I'm not going to say he's super young or whatever, but I will also say that like he's not super old either. Actually, apparently he was a grunt on Legend of Dragoon for PlayStation.
I mean, but that's a good name. It's a good name to drop.
Yeah, way back in the day. Yeah, not a lot of. I don't think we have a lot of like personal info, but point is like he's definitely younger than Ono, and he's definitely probably someone who played a lot of Street Fighter 2 as a teenager, maybe, or a kid even.
Right. So he's got kind of he's a longtime fan that is working on it. So maybe.
Yeah, but I think he's also got a really good knack for kind of like deciphering, like, okay, what do people want to see? What do people want? And I think, I don't want to get too into the gory details, but like, so the big thing about this game is what's called the drive impact. So if you press both heavy punch, heavy kick at the same time, you do this really big charged up move where if it hits the person, it'll just straight knock them down, right? And it's armored, but it's very slow, right? So if you see someone using a drive impact, you have to hit them 3 times before they get that swing out, before they'll actually be stopped.
That's going to be kind of interesting. How are you going to?
It's very interesting. So, because like you can grab a person, if you see someone doing it, you can grab them, and you can grab will beat it. A super will beat it, but it'll armor through most other things and just get like a flat knockdown. But it's not something that can turn the tide. The other thing is if 2 people do it at once, the person who did it second wins. Right. So you like if you see someone throwing it out, you can, if you're quick enough, you can kind of react to it and just do your own. Just like a big charged punch. It's really interesting. It's a lot of fun, and I think the thing I like most about this whole drive impact system, it's really encouraging people to fight, because fighting games, especially Street Fighter, like for a long time, were just getting very defensive oriented. Everything was about defenses and everything like that. And the thing is, this game has a parry system, and the parry system is really interesting, where you press both mediums to do a parry, but you can just sit there and hold it down and your character just starts glowing blue and they just auto parry everything. But if you're just holding it down, you can't immediately cancel out of it. So you can't just like immediately like, oh, I parried everything, so I can immediately throw a super out and just hit you right away. If you want to do what's called a perfect parry, you have to press both mediums at the exact second, a person's trying to hit you. And then you can counter hit them really fast.
Right.
Only if it's a perfect parry, like the timing has to be perfect. Or if someone's just spamming like Chun-Li's lightning kicks on you, you can just sit there and hold both mediums down, and your character will just auto parry all of them. But you're not going to be able to punish the Chun-Li as long as you're holding it down, because you're not getting perfect parries.
But it does seem like it would like stop some cheese. Like
it's kind of like
certain.
Yeah, it's meant to be like a sort of like anti-spammer tech, I guess you could say.
Well, I remember, if you, and this might not be true for people that are like super into Street Fighter or fighting games in general, but like watching Street Fighter 5 matches could get dull.
Oh yeah.
People just stick to their corners, and then it's a lot of footsie, a lot of frame counting. And I know that that's fun for people that are really, really into it, but knowing how many frames I get, it's fucking exhausting for me. Like it's just, and watching two people who are quote unquote masters of Street Fighter can get so dull.
Yeah, because they know what everything is the best option for everything, and most of that time it's usually just sort of like just trying to get someone to get close enough to bait them into an attack, and then counter it, or just doing like the same
miscount and iframes. So
just do the same 3 or 4 hit combo over and over and over again, because that's obviously because that's the best thing. Because if I do a small combo, I can get away from him before he can react and counter me. So I'm never going to do a big long crazy combo. But 6 has things in place where like it's like, no, it kind of wants you to get in there. Now don't get me wrong, it'll scale hard. So if you do like a really long combo and try to end it with a big super, that super will do far less damage if it's at the end of a long combo. It's called, it's old scaling. That's nothing new for some fighting game people. But like, yeah, if like long combos will scale, you'll still get more damage than if you didn't do it, but it'll scale. So it's not, oh, I touched you once, I win kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. They don't want you to be able to do one combo to win the entire thing.
Entire round. Yeah, exactly. This is not, from what I've seen, like there's some pretty like, wow, you can get some real good damage, but I haven't seen touch of death anything in the closed beta. And again, it's hard to, I almost feel it's pointless to talk about like who's good, who's bad. It's a closed beta for a game that doesn't have a release date. Like all of this shit could change drastically in the next couple months.
Well, that's another thing we should talk about, is because I how far away can the game possibly be if they're having a closed beta?
That's the good thing. Good question, actually, because Max has been like, I think it'll be early next year. Max is like pretty convinced, like it's just about good to go, and it felt just about good to go.
Right, it felt really polished from everything.
It felt really polished and put together. I mean, every so often you get a disconnection error or whatever, but like the matchmaking was really good. I played people cross country, and I played people in Brazil, and it was fine. I played people on the other side of the world, and it was fine. I played Steve, and it wasn't fine. Because Steve has cursed internet.
Well, he doesn't actually have a router. He has 3 potatoes and a clock that he just kind of plugs into the wall.
He's got a battery hooked up.
He has to crank it between every match so that the battery keeps going for his router.
No, I don't know. It was just really funny, I thought, where I'm like, Steve is absolutely the closest person in this entire world that I'm facing. And for some reason, his internet's a little chunky. I don't know why. This guy on Wi-Fi in Brazil was fine.
Steve's still on DSL because he thinks it means dick sucking lips, but it's just bad internet.
Is DSL even around anymore?
Yeah, you can still get DSL.
Wow.
I actually don't remember what DSL stands for. I used to know what DSL stands for.
Directly
I installed that shit.
Well, lame. I don't know. I don't know, dude.
Directly sucks lame. Yeah, it rolls off the tongue.
Well, right. That's why it's DSL.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So the other thing in the Battle Hub I forgot to mention was called the Game Center. So they have these arcades and they rotate. They rotated every day during the beta. They would put an old Capcom game in there, and you could either do free play or 1/4 score attack, which they would then have like a big thing above it. So you could play Final Fight one, Magic Sword another day, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo another day.
And it just rotates?
Yeah, it just rotates a free game that you go into this and you play this whole other game, and you can either just free play it or you could try to do the 1/4 challenge and see how far you get on 1/4.
Is there voice chat in there? Something like, how many people are in a lobby? Well,
there were settings for the lobbies, so I don't know, 40 to 100. The lobbies are big. Like the battle hubs were pretty big. And then there were settings to see because I was on PC and people were saying you could determine how many people you can see in a lobby. Like if you, for performance purposes, you wanted to not see, perform better, not see as many other people in the lobby.
And it was proximity chat, or?
I don't know, because I didn't do voice chat with anyone. I hate talking to people online.
I mean, it's a really good way to find out how many racists are around, I guess.
That's true. I mean, people could do emotes where they could spam like their creative character doing Hadoukens and spinning bird kicks and dragon punches and all that other shit.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people would do like dragon punches to fly upwards and land on top of arcade cabinets.
This sounds like it's gonna have shitloads of staying power.
Yeah, so they would get on top of arcade cabinets and then do crazy emotes and dances or whatever on top of these two arcade machines people were battling each other on.
I feel like this is gonna have that same sort of staying power as like 14 or even 11 had back in the day, where like people just get on to hang out.
Oh yeah, totally.
That's
like there's areas in the game center where you could go and set up tournaments in that lobby, like that in that arcade you're in. So you could set up a tournament bracket for everyone just in there, like, hey, let's run a tournament here.
That's honestly, that's really good idea.
Yeah, there's some just really smart idea stuff. There's a weird little thing. You go up to this one balcony area and there's like a DJ booth, and you can go up there and you can like record a little scratch. You can record yourself scratching to like a beat, and it'll like replay and play out, and people can hear it up there. So you can go and like goof, like really basic DJ, like scratch a booth up in this arcade area, like
the thing about
neon arcade area upstairs.
It's just sort of shocking that this is coming out of Capcom.
Yeah, right. Because it really feels like a completely like a.
It feels.
I mean, it still
fresh.
feels like a Street Fighter game. It feels like a completely different developer studio took, and maybe it did in a way because Dimps did a lot of Street Fighter 5 and 4, and this is like internal Capcom,
right?
So it's like the first from the beginning. because I think internally Capcom. Well, I think internally Capcom made Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, but yeah, but like it's the first internally developed Capcom Street Fighter game in many years, where they development started and goes through just internal Capcom, because 4 was dimps, 5 was dimps, at least at the start. So since 3, this is like the first in-house numbered Street Fighter game Capcom's making themselves.
That's really interesting. I sort of wonder. I wonder what lit a fire under them to do something fresh. You know, I feel like they could have very easily just went back to the same bucket they did 5 out of. So
yeah, you know what I think lit the fire under their asses? You want to know what I really think it was? It had to have been Mortal Kombat. They may never admit it.
You
but
think they saw how good?
I think the sales of Mortal Kombat was like, you can't fucking deny that shit. And maybe closer to home, Tekken 7 blowing up the way it did, and continuing to do really well. Same with Dragon Ball FighterZ. I think just the fact that like, I mean, in 5 actually did catch up over time, but like, it's still
was over time though.
Yeah, it's still like less than half of what a Mortal Kombat 10 or 11 did. So,
well, this changes things too. Like if this comes out and nails it as hard as it sounds like it's going to, like this is going to change. Like I feel like people will copy this for multiplayer in general. The idea of having that battle hub and that, you know.
Yeah, and it's really funny because Arxis has been doing it with little 2D or a little like very basic crude things, like a very simplified version of what this is, and nobody likes it. One, because their matchmaking has sucked dick ever since they've tried to do this, and this didn't have those matchmaking issues even in the beta.
This is similar to what was rumored, that COD MMO, you know, character building, and then you're on a battlefield, and then you can go in like to different parts of the battlefield to join fight. Like, you remember that rumor where it's like, oh, you'll be able to do character creation.
Yeah,
the character will always look like whatever your custom character created thing is, and you can do all the customization to your rifles.
Yeah, and the thing is, and I'm always preaching like people don't care about this. And I'm like, I think people do care about this. I think people are going to like this a lot because it's done well.
Yeah. Well, when it's not done well, it's a distraction. But when it's done really well, it's an attraction.
In a way, it's kind of a risk reward thing where it's like people will. You know, like I think what's going on here, people are going to love this. It's going to create a lot of I'm just logging on just to hang out in this lobby, or maybe just get a couple casual matches in. Like they're more incentivized. Like that. Yeah, they're just more incentivized just to jump in and just hang around in this hub thing. And it's a well done hub. Whereas, you know, if it's a bad hub, you know, where it's like a Guilty Gear lobby, nobody gives a shit.
Well, look at Red Dead Redemption. That first lobby, the lobby was what everyone played. Like,
yeah, because the lobby system was great.
Yeah, right. A good lobby system, people will hang out in.
Yeah,
and that's just like I'm super down with that. I wonder how big the hub will actually be when the actual game launches. Is the hub going to be a wide open space? Like how many people can actually be in it? Because that's.
Well, I forget what the max was, because like when you go online, you can literally choose a server to go on. And say in North America, I saw it up to 50 different battle hubs. Wow. You know, you could choose one, North America 1 through 50. And each one of them probably held around 100 or more players. They're big. I mean, they're very, very big. It's a very big virtual arcade. A lot of cabinets.
Yeah, that's cool as hell.
And they had a bar that told you how many people were in each one. Too, like a graph and a number where it's like, yeah, it's busy or it's crowded, you know, like open, you know, so you could auto have it fill you into one, or you could just go manually choose one, your choice. And they gave you, also tells you like what your connection status to the rest of the people there, like the like, okay, like so like anytime you looked at it and it's like, you know, Asia or North or South America, it would just tell you like your connection's going to be bad there. So they gave you this little like bar graph of like like your median connection is like 2 bar, 1 bar.
And whatever, so. I guess the big thing to ask is, does it have rollback?
Yes.
Oh.
And crossplay.
Oh,
That's the other thing. So in the beta, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC users could play against each other.
that's awesome. That's actually kind of incredible. They really did listen to exactly what people were saying they wanted. Crossplay and rollback.
Because like rollbacks, we've kind of won the rollback war, and now it's the crossplay war, where it's like
Right.
convincing them like,
Well,
no, you want crossplay.
Sony's
you
the
want...
main one. Sony's the main blocker to crossplay.
Yeah, well, I don't think anymore. I think they've lost that fight.
Right.
They put up a good fight, but I think when Epic and Fortnite was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? like even then, like the most popular games in the world being crossplay, and then like Sony being like the one lone like dickhole.
Well, that's sort of their MO.
You remember that too? Like, well, we got to provide the best online experience. Fuck you. Like,
yo, so you're buying dedicated? Oh no, you're not. Yeah. You're not buying. Okay, cool.
Like we're also like they try to say like we're all trying to provide the best experience, and we're trying to protect people. We can't control, what'll happen if a PC or an Xbox user play. Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
The whole protect the children thing with that they tried to pull on that one. So
Pizzagate. All right. So last question about the SF6 beta, because I also kind of want to talk about TwitchCon, which you didn't go to this year.
No. I dodged a bullet.
Did anyone go? Steve and Kenny went.
Kenny went a couple days. Steve went one day, from what I understand.
Right. Okay. So last thing about the beta. So lobbies, you didn't know about voice chat or anything like that, but you said, did they have text chat or any? Because I'm wondering, like,
yes, there was a little chat window.
There is text chat. So then I'm wondering how it's going to integrate streaming wise. Right? Was there any indication about like streaming integration? Because that would be the last thing that I sort of think, if Capcom thought of a way to make this.
I want to say there are thinking about things for that.
If they figure out how to integrate, how to make it so that like there's benefits to streaming the game, or like having your audience in the battle hub with you and shit like that. Oh, dude. That's gonna. It might actually have like real staying power as a streaming game.
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing in the online closed beta, probably because it's a closed beta.
Right? Yeah, they're not gonna. I just wondered if there was any kind of like indication at all.
I feel like there is. I want to say there is. I want to say there's been some talk about some stuff about that, about like pumping up or promoting up a particular player or person or whatever, votes or voting on things or whatever, like voting on matches outcomes or.
Well, the tournament bracket thing seems like that's going to be a big draw.
Well, yeah, because like you say you're streaming it, you're gonna be like, I'm going into North America room 54 or room 44, right? And like I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna start up a tournament, in room 44, and then everyone come in here and jump into the tournament, and we're gonna do a big live tournament.
Well, think about all the big streamers for fighting games going in and doing a tournament, and you can hop into the battle hub and spectate shit like that.
Yeah, because they have this little like theater where you can do that.
Right.
They didn't really use it in the closed beta, but like there's a theater where you can sit there and you can watch. They didn't have it, but I was kind of bummed about it because Virtua Fighter has this. I was really hoping you could get there and just watch just random matches being played live. But like the tech is there. Like they clearly built it for this, where you could go to the theater area and like camera will like focus in, like zoom in on the big screen, or maybe just you could even choose to have it like pulled out a little bit where you can see your character still sitting there watching the big screen, and you can watch tournaments going on live in the battle hub. And
what they should do,
they can debut trailers for new characters. Yeah. Like, the new character trailer is going to drop in the battle hub first before we put it on the internet. So everyone go log in, go into a room, and then just go to the theater area. And
great idea. Yeah, that's super cool.
And then this is the first we're gonna play this trailer here, and then 15 minutes later it's going to be up on YouTube or whatever, right? So like they get everyone to just kind of come in and just like talk amongst themselves in their own game about, we're going to debut this footage here or this character here.
Well, you remember Battlefield 4, how you could basically buy your own server? Like you could sign up to have your own server of Battlefield, and you could either make it public or private. And it's a full-on dedicated server of Battlefield. I wonder if they would do that with Battle Hub, where it's like, you know, you're a big streamer and you're like, oh, I have my own hub. And you can either have it as public or on times when you're like, hey.
I think if the game is big enough, they may have to, right?
Right, that would be.
They may be forced into that position where it's like your game's too big. There's too many people. You're clogging up every server you've bought. You've got to like let people have their own private servers.
Yeah, I wonder if that's going to be a thing, because I always thought that was one of the coolest things about Battlefield 4. Was that
having like private servers and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. I'm like, there's still some questions about that. I don't know the whole answer to, but I can say like it feels like the technology's sort of in place for that. Like it feels like from the menus and what I remember about, you know, going online and navigating stuff in servers, I'm like, it feels like it would possibly be there. Like there would be at least maybe even you could have password protected, you know, lobbies or whatever, right?
Hell yeah.
I want to make a private lobby, a private hub or something.
Well, it just seems like that would be a great step again if you have big streamers that want to play it, being able to have your own battle hub where you can then sort of have your audience in it, or because if there's a cap, say of 100 people, you know, you jump in and you want to be able to have control of like who's jumping into your tournament or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Seems like it would make sense. But okay, so there's some whack shit that happened at TwitchCon.
Yeah, TwitchCon was
apparently it was a mess.
I mean, we could be nice and say, "Hey, Megan the Stallion performed with Master Chief," and that was probably the only like positive highlight that came out of it was some Master Chief cosplayer grinding on this person I barely know exists and is hugely popular to millions of people around the world.
And she was also in She-Hulk.
And I guess that upset some chuds for some reason or something. I don't know. I'm so out of that.
I kind of lost interest in She-Hulk. It wasn't. I don't know. I watched 3 episodes and I didn't really.
It's funny because it's like the 3-episode litmus or whatever. Because I've heard from people I trust who are not chuds, who are not like upset over stupid shit, who are all like, it's really not that good. Like I kind of fell off after 3 episodes. I just never went back.
I've heard Daredevil is really good in it, and like if you love Daredevil, jump back in. But I don't know. I'm done. Especially shows like that. Like I don't want to wait a week. Like if I have to wait a week and I'm not super impressed with, like I fell off with like Rings of Power now, and I'm trying to give Rings of Power like a full season.
Yeah, Max showed me 2 episodes of that. And I'm like, it's good.
It's just kind of like meandering. I don't know. And then same with Hot D, House of the Dragon, which, you know,
I can't believe people are coming back for that. I thought everyone was fucking over that franchise.
Yeah, some of the performances are really good in it. You know, and the world is good. It's good for political intrigue. The problem is, again, like I just fell off of it again, so I'm gonna have to go back and watch it when the season's done.
You know what show is actually really, really fucking good?
Huh?
Andor's
pretty good. It's pretty good. I still feel like it has the Disney filler syndrome.
I don't know about that.
Now that last episode, they stretched so
a little
much.
bit. But like, God. At least the acting was good, though.
No, it is good.
Which and you can't say that about Star Wars almost ever.
Right. The thing is I want those stories, and so I am supporting Andor 100%. But also Disney has this problem with all of its shows that it seems like, where maybe 2 episodes in the entire season is where things actually happen, and everything else is just this fucking slog of character moments. Basically what they call everything that has nothing to do with the plot, like where they'll just drag ass through like a entire. The problem is Mandalorian season 2, I felt it really hard. In season 1 I was kind of like, they're going slow, it's a slow burn, and then I realized like, in season 2 they're dragging ass. Like they don't have enough content here. They're just kind of like fucking dragging it out as much as they can.
I will stand. I haven't, I've seen whatever. I think 2 and 2. Blocks Max showed me. Oh, no, I watched 2, and then like Max showed me 2. Andor's great because it feels like there's tension, which Star Wars hasn't had in like almost ever.
Right.
And I really appreciate that. And I think the thing that I also like is how the head writer, Tony Gilroy, is like, he doesn't like, I'm not a Star Wars fan. Like, it's so clear that it's written by a guy who doesn't really know or care that much about like the nitty gritty Jedi shit of Star Wars.
Right.
It's
The
like,
fan service.
yeah, like he's like, I don't care. I'm not really particularly a fan of it. And I'm like, this is what the series needed so bad. It's so weird to say that. I'm like, what this series needed was someone who doesn't care about Star Wars to come in and give it a fresh perspective.
Well, I think something to that effect, and I know we're sidetracking hard here. He does like one of the key elements of the show is the Kyber crystal, which is a big Jedi lore thing. Like he's full of shit if he's sitting here being like, "Oh, I don't really care about making nods." No, he's
someone is
making
because he just his interviews are great because he was like he came in and redirected the last third of Rogue One, and he's like, "Do you know anything? I didn't know anything about Star Wars. They brought me up to speed, and I was just like, oh, it's a battle of forget what war movie." He said, "Oh, it's like this war movie. Okay, I'll just do that. I don't."
Right.
I mean, there's absolutely like producers or whatever with the Disney's like, you could make this a thing or whatever.
And he's like, sure.
It's kind of nice how there's not just like random characters and cameos just kind of like shoved in for no fucking purpose.
Right.
Which Rogue One had.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But it's kind of, like someone was saying, like the only like real cameo thing is the fact that his pistol is the pistol from Dark Forces, like the first one. Like
really?
Yeah, like the first Dark, like the one like the rotating one or whatever. That's
I
like
didn't catch that. Yeah.
From Dark Forces 1. Like apparently like that's the first pistol you get in that game is like the one that Andor runs around with, I think. Something like that. And I was like, well, cool. I mean, it wasn't pointed out and it wasn't like this, oh my god.
I mean, it does get a close up, I guess, but
I mean, Star Wars is, I mean, even from 7 on, it's been kind of a problem where they're like, this is Luke Skywalker's like lightsaber. Where did you get that? That is a good story for another day.
Put that in the mail and send it away. But okay, back to TwitchCon. So the biggest issue that I heard about was that they had no disability access. Like they had no like ADA access, like apparently ramps and like there was everything required.
That's super bizarre because it's in San Diego and you better believe your ass Comic-Con covers that shit real good. There are elevators there.
This is purely like Twitter stuff because I didn't go this year. But yeah, apparently there was like that, and then like lines kept getting shifted, so people would be waiting for hours in a line, and then find out that the line had been moved, unannounced to somewhere else, and so they would have been waiting since 4 a.m. and have to go to a different hall and be in the back of the line and shit. Wow. And then of course the infamous ball pit, where several streamers, and
broken legs, broken back.
There and for why they kept it open.
So I had heard from someone else that like at one point before everything hit the fan social media, someone from Twitch had gotten enough reports that he went over there and he shut it down. And then right after he did that, everything hit the fan. But the problem was like this guy shut down like on like Sunday on like the last day or something. Yeah. It was like way too late. Like waited for way too many injuries to get.
So who was that? So was it like a third party or was Twitch responsible?
It was the Intel Lenovo booth.
So it might not. Well, Twitch will still be on the hook for it, I guess, or TwitchCon.
Yeah, because they're basically I don't want to say chief security, but like there is someone from TwitchCon staff who's going to definitely eat shit for this. Right. Probably the same person who shut it down right before all the shit at the fan. But they're probably also going to try to shift as much blame to Intel as much as they can. I'm not a lawyer.
Did you see that? Did you see that video
I did.
of the lady who broke her back in 2 places?
Yeah, I sure did. I think a lot of people did.
And then the guy who was working the booth was like, "Nah, she's playing."
Yeah, like the
She's
lady on the
fine.
announcer, she's fine.
She clearly cannot move.
So here's the thing. For Mike's, I don't think you were there. There was Mike had a birthday at a trampoline park one time a few years ago, and there was a foam pit with those foam blocks in it. However, you are in real danger of getting stuck in those foam pits, because those foam pits at the trampoline parks with those square foam things are about 6 feet deep, and at the bottom of it is another trampoline. And that trampoline is actually held up by a foam pillar, as like a shock absorbent pillar.
Yeah.
So you have about 8 to 12 feet from the top to the very actual concrete floor, because you have a concrete floor with a foam pillars holding up a trampoline, holding up 6 feet of foam blocks. So you're not hitting anything.
At TwitchCon, you had about 18 inches of foam blocks.
You had about it. Like, it literally just kind of covered the surface of a concrete floor of the San Diego Convention Center with like just a surface like covering of foam blocks. That was it. And they put 2 little pedestals to do American Gladiator bullshit on top of.
Maybe they thought people wouldn't jump in, or
the point was to knock someone off the other one so they'd fall into the foam blocks. But yeah.
I don't know. I saw that video and like, oh, it hurt my back just looking at it.
Well, I don't know why you didn't do this on a big. Why didn't you? Because they make them. I've seen them. I fought on them. They have these big like little bounce house things that are arenas, and you stand on top of 2 platforms, and then if you fall like onto a big bounce house.
So before my brother's wedding, he couldn't figure out. He felt really uncomfortable about asking certain friends to be his groomsmen, because he didn't want to like leave people out. And so I organized the groomsmen games and organized a bunch of games that everyone had to compete against each other of his friends and stuff. And one of them was that pugil stick thing. Dan is amazing at it, by the way. He has incredible balance. I guess he did Tai Chi forever. And so he has just like impeccable balance, and like the platforms wobble and shit, and unbeatable. But yeah, those things are great. Could have totally done that. Could have done that with foam balls in there if they wanted. You know, that stuff, super great. Although I think Welzenbach actually hurt his elbow really bad in that, now that I think about it.
Yeah, there was one time I went to a thing and one of the teachers actually banged up their knee, and like they were all freaked out about that. That was this huge run. Like the teacher was like, I don't fucking care, because it wasn't an injury, it wasn't broken or anything, but like they were so freaked out for security purposes. They're like, yeah, because school boards are so afraid of lawsuits and whatever. So we never went back there, sadly. And I'm like, bro, it's whatever. That's a whole other story. Like, I don't want to get into, but yeah, like it was one of these things where it's like any amount of foresight would have told you this was a bad fucking idea. Not to get too off topic, but I've just watched a video recently on scary shit, and one of them was on Fukushima Daiichi. And they're talking about, how did the Fukushima Daiichi become such a problem? The diesel generators that power up the nuclear power plant and
the emergency ones,
keep the cooling system going. Those diesel generators were in the basement.
Oh, and got flooded
below sea level on a power plant on the coastline, right on the coastline. And as they're describing this part of the whole horrific story of that, I'm like, whose fucking genius idea was it to put the diesel generators in the basement below sea level on the coast of the sea? Like,
right.
Because this happened in Katrina too, where a lot of like
hospitals and stuff.
Oh, well, like their generators went offline. Why? Because they got flooded. Why they get flooded? They're in the basement. Why are they in the basement?
Because they're huge.
I get it.
They're huge. They're the size of a boiler.
When you're building it, I would have said, and well, there's more to this story too, because they're actually told multiple times, year after year after year after year after year, to fucking fix this and do something about it. Right. And the Topec company, Tokyo Power, just completely ignored it every time. Just
good.
blew off every single time there was a safety,
Well, somebody
a
should have
huge safety
raked.
concern
Somebody should have
usage.
raked their forests.
All right. So it's just kind of it's the same thing, although not on that tragic of a human scale, but like you should have just been looked at this and be like, this isn't enough. Like this is not going to protect people from falling face first off of a 2-foot platform or whatever. Like people are going to get hurt.
The booth person that you're paying minimum wage to work for the day, isn't the person that should be responsible for this. That's where a lot of it looks like blame is getting shifted.
Oh, and blame will get shifted, but from conception, during the conceptual stage of this, it should have easily been an identifiable problem. That's not enough space. Or when you're constructing it, like if you somehow miraculously didn't fucking put it together during the conceptual stage, when you were building the fucking thing, it should have been obvious that this isn't enough. It's just like this.
Well, it sounds like TwitchCon was just an overall disaster. I don't know. This is their first one back after
first one post COVID. It's not even the first in San Diego. The last one was in San Diego.
It's just first post COVID.
Yeah, the last one was in San Diego because they've been in San Diego, San Jose, Long Beach, Las Vegas, and then they decided right before COVID that we like San Diego. San Diego is going to be our permanent home of TwitchCon. I think it was like Vegas, San Diego, Long Beach, or Long Beach, San Diego, San Jose, San Diego. It was in San Diego, split, and then came back to San Diego, and now it's permanent San Diego, I guess.
I went to the Long Beach one. I think is the last one I went to.
Maybe it was just San Diego, then COVID. I don't know. I don't fucking remember.
It's forever.
Point is though, is this isn't the first time they've been at this area, so it's not really you couldn't argue any logistics of the location at all. You knew where you were, you know what you were doing, and it wouldn't matter anyways because every convention center has a concrete floor on the bottom.
No, it seems like such a massive fuck up. I sort of wonder if it hadn't happened because I guess the streamer was also a porn star, so had a huge following. And I wonder if the person who broke their back in 2 places, other people had already gotten injured, but it wasn't getting nearly as much traction until the video of that lady getting hurt came out. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if it would have gotten swept under the rug had she not been injured, that's a horrific injury. And I really am not.
Oh, I mean, to be a cynical asshole, I believe either corporate would have tried their damnedest to sweep it under the rug.
Well, because the other people didn't have any leverage, right? It was a couple of them were partners, but partners have no leverage dealing with corporate, obviously.
Right. Well, what you're saying is this person had a following, a big enough following outside of just being a streamer that they could actually other people could be whoa. But I mean, anything can technically go viral.
Right, but what I'm saying is her calling them out and pushing it herself, probably because she didn't have to worry about all of her income coming from them.
Well,
because other Twitch streamers, I guess, one broke their ankle.
Yeah, one broke their knee
hours before. You know, and it's
hard to say, but I think from what lawyers have said, because some people, one person who busted their knee was I'm not you should sue them. I can't. I signed a waiver. A bunch of lawyers have jumped in and say waivers cannot cover gross negligence, and you depending on because some people were saying they were encouraged to jump in, that's what some people were claiming, they were encouraged to jump in after victory, the announcer people, they were encouraging them to do dangerous things in this foam pit. And just in general, the whole, as we were saying, it should have been fucking obvious from get-go. So I'm not a lawyer. I don't claim to be a lawyer. I'm not claiming they're going to, this will happen, but it sounds like it could possibly be, they could possibly have a gross negligence, lawsuit on their hands. Maybe.
Right.
If that can be proven. And if that can be proven, that will override the waivers.
Yeah, and now that they have multiple witnesses and a video. Like it seems like they're going to be able to do it. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Any final thoughts on TwitchCon or the Street Fighter 6 beta? You want to end on a positive note?
I feel bad just because, like, you know, a lot of people just wanted to go to TwitchCon to sort of get back to, you know, a sense of normalcy, right?
Yeah.
Like they just wanted to go and have a good time with the streamers that they watch and enjoy. And I feel bad that this shit was happening, you know, on top of hearing reports of people coming back from COVID. There was another report of a possible roofing at a party. Again,
yes,
I watched the video of another popular person. I don't know who it was, but someone leaked where they were having a post party in downtown San Diego, leaked an address, and then a huge crowd showed up at this thing, and he was going around having to like kick people out of his own party because he didn't even know who they were, kind of thing. I just mostly feel bad because, and I don't think this was malicious, like on Twitch's part. Some of this shit has nothing to do with Twitch, like.
Right,
but it just
Twitch
sucks.
Isn't who made that ball pit.
Well, I'm not even talking about the ball pit. I'm talking more about like, you know, the
no, I know what I'm using that as an example though, right? Like that's whoever they hired to run the actual event. Yeah, like Twitch itself doesn't. There wasn't a Twitch employee who was like, "And we're gonna have a fucking ball pit," like, and then they went and did it themselves. Like they hired a event coordinator.
I think the frustrating thing for me is that this is shit I'm always asking kind of for, is that at these conventions there needs to be more focus on events and giving people things to do. Right. You can't just have like get a bunch of dealers, exhibitors to pay you money, and then they're going to have a booth and they're going to set up the booth. And, you know, I'm expecting people to pay me to come to my convention and do the entertainment for me, and pay me for it. Like it's almost like this fucking like disgusting like win-win where it's like I'm hosting this convention, but I'm getting people to pay me to come and entertain my guests because I don't want to fucking do it. I don't have anything to entertain them with. I'm basically renting out the convention center, and I'm going to get other
Twitch's business model.
Well, touche, but touche. But it's like I feel bad because I'm like, this is what I'm always saying you need, and technically this is a booth. This is Intel Lenovo who did this. So it was someone who paid Twitch to be there, to have a giant booth, and then they set up this fucking death trap. so to entertain guests, to get them to sign waivers and break their backs over. And it sucks because I'm like, I like it when these conventions and
have
these
shit
things
to do,
have shit to do and have cool events and have cool things, like whether it's just like a walkthrough maze or you know, I can or me trying to out cringe an actor at a Fallout booth or something, or
yeah,
you know, I like having shit to do. Although fuck Bethesda for that whole Fallout thing where it's like all this fucking giant ass event booth thing with actors for Fallout, and they didn't even have the game playable on the show floor. They didn't even have a video of it.
Yeah, at the very end, you see a video of character creation.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, probably because they knew Fallout 76 was a piece of shit. They probably knew how much of a disaster that game was going to be, so that's why it was this big elaborate booth with no gameplay.
It was a huge win.
But yeah, like I just feel bad. I hope I don't think this is going to kill TwitchCon. I think they're going to. It's going to make people definitely probably like. It's definitely put a I don't want to say a black eye, but like a
asterisk,
an asterisk, you know, on attendees who are always going to be like maybe not trusting that things are being done in the best thing. No one's going into a ball pit ever again. There will probably never be a foam pit of any sort ever again at TwitchCon.
Yeah, there's going to be no physical things to do.
Yeah, I think physical activities are probably going away from TwitchCon forever, which might be just as well. I hope they can come up with some creative solutions, though. For I mean, I don't know, because I wasn't even there. I was playing the Street Fighter 6 beta because they happened on the exact same days. So
Just having a great time, just enjoying life.
I was sitting in a virtual. It sounds so lame. I'm sitting in the virtual lobby having a good time, in this battle hub, and I don't care about going outside and seeing the real world and meeting real people. And
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I hope it can bounce back. I hope people the people who, I don't know if it will, but I hope the people who need to get roasted over this get roasted over this. I hope these people get settlements, or something. I hope none of these people who are injured have to pay any doctor's bills. I don't know that that's going to be the case, but I hope they don't.
Right.
In fact, the most cynical thing about this was like, this fucking sucks because this happened in America. I was like, that was actually my first fucking thought was when the poor lady broke her back. I'm like, oh man, fuck. I don't know if she has insurance. This is America. That was my first thought, is like, oh my God, broke her back in two places, needs a metal rod. She might never have money again because we're in America. So
unless Twitch wants really bad PR, I think Twitch is probably going to pay her medical bills.
I would hope so. This, and then from now on, like, TwitchCon will only be in like, some European country or Canada. Like,
TwitchCon,
I don't know. We're only going to somewhere where there's free medical now.
TwitchCon Romania.
Do they have good medical in Romania?
I don't know, but they might not let you sue them. I don't know.
That's also true.
I have no idea. Actually, Romania might be perfectly nice. I just picked Romania.
TwitchCon 23. Where is it? Sochi. What?
What? On that note, we've got patrons to thank. If you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week was David D. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, David. And our producers for this episode are Scrunami, Koroi35, Hyperviber89, Ziggy Z, and Online Persona. Thank you, dudes, and we'll catch you next time.
Later, dudes.